So I'm so excited today. We are learning how to jam pack our list full of leads, and I'm going to call it a rough game plan to get your next 100 leads. When I was doing this and writing the sales page, I wanted to just get some data. It was really interesting that I went to my email list and I worked out that 24% of my entire list has actually purchased something from me, which just feels like, it's funny. I was like, this feels like it's a lot. And then I went into Give Good Email and I asked our GG people, and of the people that told me, we had a range of 19 to 58%, meaning that if they have 100 people on their list, 19 to 58 people have purchased from them, which really felt quite big. And why I loved this is, my whole thing in business, anytime we have workshops, anytime there's courses, it is never about having the most amount of people that you can have. It's never about having hundreds of thousands of people. It's about doing a really good job with the audience that you have. And it's interesting because when I had set out to do this and talking about having 100 leads, I'd had a conversation with someone and I'm like, oh, I'm going to run this workshop, getting your next 100 leads. And they're like, oh, but why don't you make it 1,000 or 10,000? And I'm like, because if you can't sell to 100 people and do that well, we've got some core problems within our business that need to be solved. And when you are doing things in a way where there is this human element, which I do think is a little bit lacking in online business at the moment, you will convert really well. And something that I want you to also get out of today is that when we think about lead generation and getting people into our business, it's not just about, let me just cast the net, see who's keen, and then they know I'm here. So, okay, cool. They've got this freebie. All right, cool. Let's just keep bringing all of these people in. I want you to start to see these people, anyone that ever puts their hand up to download a lead magnet, come to one of your workshops, is interested in you. They are not paying you yet, but they are paying you with their attention. Okay. So you do not need thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And today is about learning a process. And that is your game plan for your next 100 leads. Now, if you are new for my process for business building, I have something that we teach, which is called GOLS. This is the process that we take our clients through. So we start with goal. It's like, what is the endpoint? What are we working towards? Do you want $1 million business? Are we going to exit this? What does it look like? Then we look to our offerings, products, and services. So the things that you buy. So if you were looking at my business, this would be like Business Bang, it would be Give Good Email. And then the next category is our visibility and our lead generation. So it's like, we've got that worked out. Cool. How do we get in front of new eyeballs? And then the next category is sales. The reason that I'm bringing this up is because it can be very hard to do visibility and lead generation if you do not have the prior two categories worked out. And something I want to say is that, I've worked with thousands of business owners in workshops. The amount of people that are like, let me just keep doing content. So it's like I've got the lights on, but they don't want to work on these two things. And it is very hard to push forward with the last two categories if you don't have clarity within your business. So I am going to say that if you don't really know what is happening and what you're selling, get something locked in by this afternoon. Have a plan of where you actually know that you are going, because it is hard to show up and to produce content. I would rather you just go offline and not show up at all for a week and just have some clarity within your business and your offers. Otherwise, you're going to be visible and the back end is just not going to be worked out. Okay. So what we are going to assume today is that you know what is happening in your business that is worked out and that you do have good offerings, products, and services. You need to work proactively. I think that there is this belief where when we look at online business that we can just do a couple of little bits of marketing, put things out there, and our whole business will run. And I don't doubt that that is true for a lot of people. However, if you have a smaller audience, you have the best thing going for you in the world. And that is that you have time that you can connect with people, you can have conversations, you can pitch, you can look through your email data and look and see who has clicked something and you can go and contact them or you can send them an email. There is actually so much that you can do working proactively. And, when we look at like traditional business, this would look something like your business development. And I feel that as we've gone into online business, that whole part of business has just been thrown out the window because people are like, well, we're doing content. That's enough. It's actually not. It is really not. And something I'm going to say is that a lot of the advice that we are doing today, I'm going to tell you to work proactively. And this is going to work so well for you. And the reason it's going to work so well for you is no one does this. No one has conversations. No one follows people up. Because I think a lot of us think that if we just cast the net, we put stuff out there, that people will come to us. That is not the case. The last thing is you have to have belief. What I mean by this is you have to know that you have the best products and services, that you have the most amazing experience. That is an absolute treat to work with you. And you have belief within what you are selling and your whole method. And this is really important because it is hard to create anything and put it out there if there is a seed of doubt in the back of your mind that you suck. Because what will happen is this is where I'll have clients that end up with workshops that they never promote because they're like, no one will come. And it's like, you can't promote a workshop where you're like, no one will come, because as a byproduct, it's like, well, no one will come if you're not actually promoting the workshop. What is the goal that you are working towards in your business right now? And what is an offer that you would love to sell? You need to decide this before anything else. So this may be a little challenging if you are a service-based business selling multiple services and you're like, well, we have retainers and we've got our projects and we have this. You can just get clarity on it. It's like, if we were to just think about one thing only, what would it be? Knowing that if people have a genuine interest in what you're doing, if they really love it, you can have a conversation with them. If they're like, oh, I'm not really sure if this is for me because this is what we're after right now, you actually can have a conversation. The reason I like to get really clear on the goal is because when you have your leads and when you have all of these people coming into your business, is if we don't have the goal, sometimes we can kind of like wait around for it to happen. But if you know, okay, shit, I've got 50 sales, or we have got this that we are working towards, you then have the ability to go and make that happen. So could you imagine if I'm like, oh, we're at 45 Give Good email sales and it's like November, I've got 5 to go. I then go and get to chase that proactively because I've really set that goal. All right. So this is why I like everyone to know what you are working towards. So that is step 1. What is the goal? What is the offer? Decide that and get really, really clear on one offer only. Okay. Step 2. This is where we're going to start to get into our beautiful lead generation. Very, very simply put, leads will fall into 2 categories. You have people that know you, and then you have people that do not know you. So you will have people that follow you on Instagram, they've seen your website. Anytime someone shouts people out in Facebook groups, they'll read the comments and be like, oh yeah, I know that business. Like, they know of you. They may be on your mailing list. Maybe they've purchased something from you. And then you have people that have no fucking idea that you even exist. Like, you'll meet them at a networking event and they'll be like, oh my gosh, that's a really interesting business. I love this. Like, let's connect on Instagram or let's connect on LinkedIn. Interestingly, when I work with clients, a lot of people seem to discount people that know them. Okay. They're like, oh no, I don't know about them. I need to get new people. This is a really big mistake because we can believe that our audience just will not buy and that we continually need new people. And, at the end of the day, if you have been showing up and you have been doing marketing within your business, if you tell me right now that no one in your audience buys, I want you to stop marketing, because what's the point? Why are we posting content on Instagram if you're like, no one there is my client? Stop immediately. And if you're like, no, I need to keep posting. Okay, cool. Then you must have people there. What I want you to remember is that if people are not paying you yet, or if you feel like that your audience isn't too receptive, if people are paying attention, they are still paying you attention with their time. They're paying you with their time. They're not paying you yet with cash. An example of this could be, you are all at this workshop right now. Some of you have never bought anything from me. Am I being like, well, they're never going to buy anything from me because they've never bought? No, because you're here. So anytime you have people that read your emails, they like your content, they watch your stories, they converse with you in the DMs, that is a potential client. And I don't want you to discount them because they have never given you money. Because as I said earlier in the call, a lot of what is lacking is in business these days is business development. And you will be so surprised at how you can really easily reactivate people just with a little bit of effort. So that's the mistake number one. And then again, mistake number two, I need thousands of people. If you have a really shit brand and you have no brand loyalty, yes, you will need thousands of people. If you change your mind every minute, you see this a lot in online business. People that like, if I look at their profile 1 month and then I don't see them for 2 weeks or a month, and then I look back and I'm like, oh, they're doing something different. What's this? Okay, well, what's happening now? What's happening now? It is really hard to sell if people don't know what you're doing. And if you seem to be changing your mind a lot and then getting online and saying, I hate this offer, I want to burn my business down. Don't do that, please. Tell that to your journal. Do not put that on your business page. So if you have a terrible brand and no brand loyalty, it is going to be more challenging to sell to people and you will need a bigger audience. And if you have picked a low cost, high volume model, yes, this would look something like you are trying to make $1 million selling selling products that are under $100. You are going to need so many people to make that income goal happen. If you are selling reasonably cost services, like everything is like $1,000 plus, you're not going to need as many people. So if you've got that working for you, you'll be really surprised that your next income goal will happen with your existing audience. Now, although we have the two categories, the people that don't know us and the people that know us, it really can be broken down into 4. So again, cold leads, people that are discovering us. We've got our warm leads. These are people within our audience. They're engaging, but they are not yet buying. We can go down to number 3, which is on the fence leads. So they are aware and engaged, but not yet over the line. And then we've got our past clients, people that have given us money before. So I like to think of people in these 4 different categories, and it looks like this. So cold leads, they have no idea that you exist. Strangers. Who is Peter Saris? I went to a networking event the other night, and it was interesting talking to some people. They had no idea about me. Nothing. I told them my business. They're like, this sounds really cool. We connected. We go across to category number 2. There were people that are like, oh my gosh, I've heard you. I've seen about you on the board. The community team talks about you all the time. They wanted to be introduced. I would call them a warm lead. They have had some kind of brand experience with me. Even if they don't follow me on socials and we haven't had a conversation, they know of me. They know what I do. These would even be people I would say that have been on your list for a while. So if you've been list building and you're like, oh, I've had some people here for 2 or 3 years, they haven't purchased, don't write them off. So oftentimes when I look at clients with their email marketing data, they'll say that their entire list is cold. And I'm like, if you've been emailing for a week and you have 1,000 people on there, they're not cold. You know, you probably need to have a bit of a better sales strategy. I would say it's that. But anyone that is paying attention, I classify as a warm lead, because if they did not want to be there, they would leave. They would unfollow, they would unsubscribe. So don't discount those people. They are valuable. Then again, on the fence lead. So these are people that have downloaded a freebie, come to an event, booked a call, asked for information. So for me, I would classify every single person that has come to a workshop as an on the fence lead for me. I'm like, you are obviously coming because you are interested in working with me. You have a problem in your business that you are wanting solved. So one thing that's been really good with doing these workshops is I'd have to check now after this. I think I've reactivated, it's probably about now 260 people within my audience, which is amazing. I can now go and follow all of those people up. You are all in my CRM, all of you. And do you know how good it feels to know that I could just have how long ever off social media and I could just nurture these people behind the scenes? That's such a good feeling. And then we've got number 4, past clients, anyone who has given you money. If you have had dramatic business changes, let's pretend that you started selling services and they were $100 and now you're $10,000. Don't think that those people aren't going to come along with you. I think we think sometimes when we have dramatic change in our business that those clients that we worked with are still in that same spot. people grow and you never know the changes that they have in their business in that time. So we want to make sure that we are just not writing people off. So I have a bit of a task for us all to do. Do we have any pen and paper with us or just something to write on? Okay, perfect. I want you to write however you want. You can do columns or you can divide it into like 4 quadrants. So you're going to write at the top, if you want to do columns, you're going to write what am I doing? Let me start again. You're going to write cold leads, warm leads, on the fence, and past clients. So when we look at cold leads, who has your audience? Where is your audience? And then how bold do you feel about getting them? What I mean by this is we all can think now about maybe not competitors, but you could have someone where if you're doing branding, you've got like someone who does websites and they are amazing. You know, a copywriter, you know, a photographer, you know, a co-working space. So when I want you to think of cold leads, I don't want you to think about going and just getting one of those what is it? Like an A-frame and putting it on the street and pitching to strangers. We're not thinking about that. We are thinking strategically here about anyone that exists within our network that we could tap into. So if you are a speaker, this is where you could look at people that you know that have a podcast. This could look like people that you know that have a community where you can be like, let me develop some kind of workshop and I will go and present to them. So one of my strategies is anytime I go and present to anywhere, I get a client every time. If I've got a speaking event, I get a client. If I go and do a workshop for someone, I get a client. So these people are brand new to me, but they have come via the recommendation of someone that they know, like, and trust. So when I think of cold leads, I think of activating strangers through someone that they know, like, and trust, and through one of my network. So what I would love for you to do is just start to jot some people down that you know. If you've got your phone handy, go to Instagram if you're on there, or maybe LinkedIn, and just go and scroll through and just start to write people down. If you go across to the next category, which is warm leads, you'll see a note here. When I do network marketing, and it's interesting because when I tell people that I did do network marketing, they're really quick to discount everything that I've done in business. They're like, wow, you must be bullshit if you've done something like that, which, let me tell you, is very interesting. Network marketing told me to sell better than anything else that I have ever done. Because let me tell you, when you see your volume reset back to 0 at the start of the month and you've got a couple days left, you do not want to let your bonus pass you by because you've been sitting there. One of the exercises that they told us to do early on, they would always talk about this man called like Eric Worre. And he does like a lot of stuff with like network marketing, multi-level marketing. And he would talk about I think the task is the ultimate memory jogger. If you type that into Google, a PDF should come up. He's also talked about it with an active candidate list. And what I loved about this is like, if I said to you right now, I want you all to think about like 10 people within that cold leads, 10 people that have an audience that you know of. Some of you are going to come up with 3 and you're like, I can't think of anyone more. And you'll be sitting right now with like 250 Facebook friends, right? That would have people that you know. What this was really good at is kind of expanding like your awareness of your actual circle that you have access to. So that would be a note if you are wanting to do a lot more proactive stuff and really tap into that cold lead market. That would be something that I would look at. But your homework is, I would love for you to come up with, I've said here 10 to 20. That's see if you can get 10 to 20 people in your network to share it. I would love for you to come up with 50. So what this would look like is, who are 50 people or businesses or contacts that you know that would be advantageous for you to get in front of their audience or have some kind of like alliance with. So grab a highlighter, think about where you show up, your primary social channel. So it could be LinkedIn, it could be Instagram. When you develop a freebie, which we're going to do a bit later, I would see if they could share that. And you could just go and contact them and say, hey, I just developed this. Would you mind sharing? Like, I'd love for you to just put this out to your network, and actually ask them. What I want to say here is the reason that I'm getting you to do a lot of proactive stuff is because shit is going to come up. You're going to worry, I'm going to be told no. What if they say no? What if they leave me on red? That's going to happen. Okay. So I want you to see this as almost like resilience and rejection training. And the quicker that you can just get over this, oh my gosh, it's going to serve you so, so, so well in business. So what I want you to think about as you're doing this is build failure in. Random example. I am so single and I would love to meet someone, but like I'm really like men are just funny, right? If you are dating, you know exactly what I mean. So I would put all this pressure on me getting like perfect dates because like I've gone on, I would say probably over 600 first dates. Like it's been a lot. It could be more. There's a lot of first dates. So I would go on these dates and because I'm like, how the hell can't you vet these men better? This is ridiculous. And I really get in my head about it. So now I've got a 20% success rate of my first dates. So I know that 8 in 10 are probably not going to be great. They're going to go nowhere. Guess what? I get to tick that off. I now have built failure into winning. So what you can do here is you could do that whole 8 in 10 model that you are going to get 2 successes out of every 10. 8, you'll be left on red. People will say no. They'll say they're going to do it and they don't do it. So think about it that way because that will happen. And you think about it, if you do that, you then actually build a win in, even though you're like, well, it's not ideal, but that's okay because it's going to happen. Now, when we go across to warm leads, this is where are we posting? Where do we share content? Who are the people on our mailing list? Who do you know well? So you could write down here, it's like, where are you posting? Okay, cool. Our channels are Instagram and LinkedIn. Let's write them down. How many followers do we have on Instagram? Write that down. How many connections do we have on LinkedIn? Write that down. How many people are on our mailing list? Write that down. And I'm not saying write down every single account, but it's like, let's pretend you've got 1,000 on Instagram, 1,000 on LinkedIn, 1,000 on your mailing list. There is, of course, going to be some audience crossover, but just write down you've got 3,000 people. Why I'm getting you to write this down is because your brain is so good at keeping you small and safe because it is what your brain knows. So you will feel like you want to grow your business and you will be like, I don't know what to do. There's not enough people. This is to show you that you have more people. Like if you were to go and actually go to your network and contact 5 people a day, it would take more than the end of the year to get through that. You would have, you would shock yourself. Now, if we go across to the next column on the fence, we can't think of every past offer that we've sold, but I want you to think about every freebie that you've created. I want you to think about every event that you've run. So if you have run like events like this, write them down. So for me, I would write down jam pack your list full of leads, charge your worth, high standard. And then next to it, I would write down how many people have come to each. What I've done is I've then put all of those people into a segment and it's like archive events. I will say if you do email marketing well, it will make this so much easier because you already have these like little segments, which is your groups of subscribers. So you can go and do that quite easily. You've got all of your lead magnets in there. So if you've got your email software, open that now and then write down like, oh, I've got my email content planner. I've got my hot business audit. I've got this. I've got this. I've got this. What you may realize is that half of the reason that you are not really doing lead generation is you could be overwhelmed with the amount of shit in your business. Anyone who's into human design, who's a manifesting generator, we love to have shiny object syndrome. We love to act on every idea that we have. So you are probably going to have some kind of overwhelm if you have so many assets. It could be a good idea to kind of archive, cull, and work out like what are our strongest assets that we have that are going to, because remember, we've got our goal, we've got our offer, and then we've got the leads that we want to target. So with all of that in mind, what works and what is just going to be binned? So I want you to write all of those down. Does anyone have a CRM and does anyone add people when you have a conversation? So if I were to ask you a question about, let's just say on Instagram, and show interest in an offer, do you add me into that or no? So what I would love for you all to start doing from today is anytime someone shows genuine interest in an offer, log them in, okay? Because sometimes we can have people that haven't said that they're interested in something or they haven't actually filled in a contact form, but we can kind of see within their actions and behaviors that they are interested. What I would also say as well is it can be really hard sometimes to gauge interest if we are giving people too much information. An example of this is in email marketing land. If you put too much information in an email, it will affect your click rates because people do not have any reason to click to that next step unless they're buying. So a simple way for you to do this is you'll notice that I never put prices in anything, ever. The price is on the sales page. If you want the price and you are interested, I will make you click through. Guess what? If you have clicked, you are an on the fence lead to me. I'm like, you are interested. So this is where, again, if you are using email, so much of this data can really help you with your sales within your business. So if you have any click-based segments within your email software, put them in your on the fence. And again, the whole idea of this is to just make this so exhaustive so that we know that we have a lot of people. And then the last column is, this will be easy for all of you, past clients. Because you would have these sales logged somewhere. It may be not in your email software, but it could be within your like a sales system or Xero or wherever you're invoicing. So think about all of your past clients. How many people are on there? How many people do you have? Do you have people within like a particular segment? An example of this could be, let's pretend that Business Bang didn't exist. We have got now, I think it's like 189 businesses and brands in Give Good Email. Imagine if I was like, okay, I want to launch Business Bang, but I'm unsure of this. I could create an offer. I could run an event for people in Give Good Email. They've already given me money. They know what it's like to work with me. They've had a good experience. They're hopefully making money. It's really easy for me to kind of come in and then sell them something. So this is where you could even be like, well, you know what? We do have quite a few people that purchased with us in 2024 and they haven't since. So what we might do is let's actually reach out and touch base. Like, let's actually run an event and we are going to go and contact all of our past clients and add them in. You'll see that I've got here, challenge yourself to do 50. That's if you have 50 people. It depends how big your audience is, but I want you to ask for a favor when you do this. So let's pretend that you are running an event. You're like, 5 things that will make you your next $20,000, something like that. Or how to get your next client, or redo your branding in under an hour. I don't know, something. You are going to go to everyone that has been a client and you're going to check in and you're going to be like, how would I say this? Sil. We'll go with Sil. Hey, Sil, you're hot, babe. And I would voice note this because we've got an established relationship. I want to actually invite you along to an event that I'm doing next Tuesday. It's going to be on this. I know it's really going to help you based on what we actually spoke about in your one-to-one session. I'll send through the link. If you know like 2 or 3 people, could you please send this to them? So, tip, never say, can you send this to people? Because people automatically, it's like they think, oh, I don't know people. It's like when I said to you, come up with your cold leads and you're like, I don't know anyone. It's like I've got object permanents who exists. If you put a number, 1 to 2, they will think of 1 to 2 people, okay? I also learned this from Simon Sinek. He said, and quite often what we'll do is we're like, oh, hey, Sil, I hope you're okay. How's your week been? Blah, 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 blah. We do all the nice shit and then we ask for the favor at the end. He said, flip it. So he said that we should ask for what we want straight up and then end with the nice stuff. So it would then be saying, hopefully you can come. Would love to see you. Also, by the way, congratulations on starting your business. It looks amazing. I'm so proud of you. It's going to be so well. I hope that you've celebrated because it's a really big achievement. That's how I would say that. Now, I'm a fan of a voice note, partly because my nails, I don't know if you can see how long my thumbs are. It just takes me a while sometimes to text. Not everyone likes a voice note. That's okay. So if this is a new person, I'll text, or sometimes I'll be like, can I send you a sneaky voice note? I have something I just want to share. And if they say yes, I'll send it. If they say no, I'll just text it. That's how I would do that. You all have so many people within your network and your audience. I would go to like reactivating people first before you're like, you know what? Let's do lead gen. Let's start a TikTok, okay? Because you're just creating more work for yourself. Right now, you need to ask yourself, do I want money or do I want a new creative project? You all probably 99.9% of you would prefer money. So if I was like, would you rather have 1,000 people on TikTok or $100,000? You're all going to pick the 100K. So ask yourself then, if the money is important, go to the people that already know you. So this is where I would look at reactivating people within your database. I would probably spend 2 hours on this if you can. This is so important. It is so important because you are all going to have periods in your business where it is quiet, where you are in the middle of a launch and you've had 3 weeks and no one has bought. And it is really easy for your brain to tell itself that you suck and that no one is out there. And the reason that this isn't working is because you're not on TikTok or because you didn't do stuff on LinkedIn. So the more time that you spend on this is going to be such an asset in those times where stuff is feeling quiet and it's like no one is paying attention. All right. So this is where we've got our different lead types. So we know the people that exist. This is where we get to match our lead capture or our opt-in or our lead magnet to these people. There are so many different lead magnets. There are probably hundreds of thousands, maybe not that many, but you've got lots of different lead magnets. These are some of them. So we've got a template or a script, a swipe file, checklist, mini guide, calculated cheat sheet, before and after case study PF, live or evergreen workshop, private Q&A session, pop-up challenge 3 to 5 days, readiness quiz, scorecard, self-audit, diagnostic tools, bots and prompts, private podcasts, and a free 20-minute strategy call. Take your pick. So I bring this up because a lot of the time people are like, I don't know, people still download PDFs. I want to say, when we think of a lead magnet, I want you to imagine that this is a taste of what they are going to buy. So if we think about it, right? When you look at all of my offers, they are information heavy, but they are me heavy. You get me. You get coached by me. We are going to be on Zoom. If you hate me on Zoom, you are not going to like working with me. Therefore, the experiences that I give are very coaching and presenting heavy. So it gives you a taste of what it is going to look like for us to have a relationship together. If you create assets for people, what would it look like to give them a taste of that? The easiest way to think about this is if you ever go to the supermarket and they give little samples in a cup. If you like the sample in a cup, you are going to want to buy the product. So what I'm going to ask you is to think about what would it look like to give people a bit of a taste of what they are actually going to purchase. What does that look like? And the reason that I say this is because I have some people, I see private podcasts are a really big thing at the moment. And I'm like, why does someone need a private podcast to buy a fucking website? Like, I actually can't get that. I can't understand that because, it would make sense if it was an audio that was, say, like a website self-audit. Here is how your website is losing you money. I'm actually going to walk you through and show you. Have me on your phone and have your website here. That would make sense. But you think about it, someone listening to you, when a website is so visual, there is a bit of a disconnection. So you want to ask yourself about how do we make this connection? Some of these in here also are a little bit more, I'm going to say passive, compared to something that is, I would say, more of a sales event. I've got 2 case studies later on. So when we look at things like this pop-up challenge or even webinars, these are great because you actually can pitch live and you can follow up, you can see who is here, you can get them to ask questions, and you have the ability to sell more so even something that's a little bit more passive, like if it's a checklist. It does depend on your overall goals, and it does depend on how proactively you are willing to work within your business. So this is a bit of a guide on how this can look with the lead categories that we spoke about. I want to say, I guess, 2 caveats. 1, I've had clients come to me before and they're like, I have a really simple lead magnet because this is what James Clear has. And I'm like, but James Clear is James Clear. You say Atomic Habits, everyone knows who he is. The fact he is a published author who has sold millions of books, the man could have a sentence as a PDF and have that as a lead magnet. He'll sell something. If we do not have our brand and business as established as that, we are going to need to put in a bit more effort. And this has obviously so many variables. But you can see here that it's like there are some recommendations where like anyone can do a pop-up challenge. This is going to work for any business. It doesn't even need to be something that's going to work on Zoom. You don't need to have a Facebook group. I've done this before with Instagram, like an Instagram channel where I did like a 10-day sales channel, and I popped, what did I pop? I made little Loom videos, and I made it so they couldn't actually save them. And if they wanted to buy it at the end, they could buy the whole challenge at the end. And I ended up selling 2 of Business Bang. If you are new, that's fantastic to do. But you can see the difference here with like a free 20-minute strategy call. Personally, I would never offer that to someone that's a cold lead. I just wouldn't, unless they have come via a recommendation of someone and I know that they have been vetted. So let's pretend that Sil, wonderful speaking coach, said to me, hey, I've got a really great connection. She needs to focus on her business. She's got a goal to make like $1 million in the next 12 months. I'm like, great. I would email her and I would say, let's hop on Zoom. I would send a Zoom link because I know that Sil has vetted her. She knows her goals. I'm not going to get on Zoom with a random, compared to having that on my website and doing a discovery call and someone booking that and then they just want free coaching. So not every lead capture that you have is going to work for the kinds of leads that we have. And again, these can change. It's a bit fluid depending on your business, but take a screenshot of this. I will give you the slides. This is just a bit of a guide here. So I want to cover the 5 different kinds of lead captures that are working right now. Quick win and resource-based. These will always do well. They will always do well because it is the kind of thing where someone can get an immediate solution. They do well with Facebook ads. They do well if someone is scrolling and they're like, this feels genuinely interesting. How I like to position these is someone gets their win while they're sitting on the toilet. Anything longer than that, it is too long. You give them a light bulb moment, you give them something really quick. So this can be a PDF. They still work really well. These are great as well for cold and warm leads because there's not a lot of buy-in. You know, it's hard to sell a cold lead an hour workshop if they have no fucking idea who you are. If it's a PDF and they can flick through, they're going to get to have a sense. You then, if you want, you can sell a workshop or have a free event off the back of that. But it's kind of hard to do that for cold people or people that you're trying to like get back in on, okay? These look like template scripts, swipe files, checklists, calculators, cheat sheets, mini guides. If you want to put together like a bot, if you have courses, look at your courses. What can we take out of the course and put into a lead magnet? What we want to talk about here is very tangible results. This will save you time. This will get your result this week. This will save you 3 hours. This will give you 100 different content ideas. When I worked in publishing, or online publishing, we would call them snappy listicles. So it would be like 8 things you can do to get like a guy to notice you in the supermarket, things like that, bullshit stuff. They did so well. Anything that was like a listicle and had a number or a time limit did insanely well. Here are some examples. Look at this. This is a Notion template. I've had 411 opt-ins. That's insane. I've never had ads behind this. When I saw this, I was like, oh, I need to probably actually have this on my website. People love the email content planner. This was simple. I took it from Give Good Email. I used the copy from Give Good Email. And I'm like, let me create a bit of an email funnel for it. I don't really promote it that much. I need to start again because when I saw this, I was like, Peter, this is getting people on your list. Remember what we said as well at the start is it really depends like what your goals are. Maybe you're like, right now, I just want to get people on my list so we can nurture them because I know in future we're going to have a launch. So we have 3 Give Good Email sales a year. We've got one end of financial year. We've got one around October. And then we do a very, very short behind the scenes one for our birthday in February. So knowing this, I'm like, knowing that you have something coming up in October, that would be really good for you to get out there because now you have months to nurture them, have a free event. Cool. They're in your field. Across the other side, we've got Laura Belgray. Laura Belgray is a copywriter. She's got a book now. She used to actually work for Marie Forleo. So she did a lot of content in B School days for Marie Forleo. And it's interesting. I followed her for like years. She hasn't really changed her freebies. These are pretty much the same. Why I love this is because we can get stuck thinking, oh, the freebie's out of date. If something is working, it's working. Maybe you need to change the messaging or the packaging. What I loved about this, when you look at these examples, where is it? Here we go. 5 secrets to non-sucky copy. I'm obsessed with this. Fun fact, this originated as a talk for my friend Marie Folio's first live event. If you have run something for someone, put that in the copy. Like, actually include that. Because could you imagine cold traffic seeing that, not really knowing who this woman is, and then thinking, I know Marie Folio, I'll opt in. So although she's not getting that referral, she is in a way. You can see here, story goldmine. Grab my free mini course, 63 surprising places to mine your life for stories that sell. You don't need to have any connection with Laura. She could be a stranger, but that is going to get you curious enough to opt in. Here are my 33 most open subject lines and open rates, plus 4 that tanked. There is that curiosity element as well. What were the shit ones? I don't want to be shit. And you can see here how it's quiet, it's numbers, and it's very tangible. There is not really a lot of buy-in. You get your guide, you just have to give your email address. Okay. This next one, diagnostic and readiness tools. This is going to be really good for you if you maybe need someone to be aware of something. Something that I noticed working with clients is that people never want to be told that they are, I don't want to say suck, but they don't want to be told that they have a problem. Has anyone felt like that before? Where you know that a client's website or something is really letting them down. It's like they've got a fantastic outfit on, and they've got shoes that are falling to pieces that need to be scuffed, and the bottom just fell off as they were walking away. And you're like, oh, this is really letting you down. The problem is, if you work with business owners, there's so much ego. Oh my gosh, there is so much ego. It is really hard for you to come in and say, hey, the reason that you're fucked is this. This is why. For this reason, the cool thing about diagnostic and readiness tools is, guess what? You haven't told them. They've input their data and they get that fed back to them. So they know based on what they actually had submitted. So this is good to use for all people. Examples can be scorecards, self-audits, readiness quizzes, diagnostic tools. This is like where things really stand for you. Let's see how you match up. What is letting your business down? Here are examples. So on the left here, you can see that we've got key person of influence. This is by Daniel Priestley. He has been a lot on Diary of a CEO. He has created some software, and that is what I have actually used here for how hot is your business. When we look back to what I was saying at the start, how we have the GOLS process. We ask 20 questions and it gets people, it like maps out like where they are on like our GOLS process. So I haven't said, hey, the reason your business isn't doing well is because you're doing no lead generation. If I had that on a call and I said that to a client, I feel like you're not visible. They could say, but I'm posting on Instagram every day. I'm thinking about this. I'm spending so much time on my content. They have answered that question and then this gets fed back to them. And it's very interesting that they look at this in a different way because I haven't said anything to them. Off the back of that, there's an evergreen webinar to opt in. I get a copy and then I contact these people. And then the cool thing is I get to pitch them an offer that is perfect based on their results. The next, event-based activators. If you are skilled at what you do, you have to present. If you have been doing this for a long time, oh my gosh, please run a live event or a workshop. If you have never presented before, please do not let that be a block for you not doing this. I'm not the best presenter. Like, I make mistakes. I stumble. I forget my words. That happens. But you can only get better if you actually are out there and you are practicing. Any lead type can benefit from this. This can look like a standalone event like what we're doing now. It can look like a pop-up challenge. So it's like, let's get together and let's audit your website in 3 days. It can look like private Q&A sessions, even private podcasts I'll put in there. My preference is that you get people in a room. You don't need hundreds. If you get 10 people along to a Zoom, amazing. So messaging angle, really simple. You just have to basically convey like what you're doing and the benefit and the time frame or the date. My client on the left, Brooke, she has her intro to AI. She runs these events every single month. It is the same workshop, the same. The cool thing is because she has people that come to the workshop, she now can leverage their audience and say, you've had a really good experience. Can you send this to your friends? It's like what we've run today. Our Jam Pack Your List full of leads. You know, for me, because I have been doing this, I know my content is good. I don't really need to focus too much on new people. There's so many people within my network, and these events have been really about reactivating these leads within my business. The clients on the left here, the social house, I worked with initially for 10 weeks at the start of the year, and then we extended it by 2 months. We created a course because they've got an incredible business and we wanted to put their intellectual property into a scalable asset. I said to them, you should run a workshop. They were like, we don't want to do it. And I said, you have no choice. As your consultant, I'm making you do this. You're going to be great. We prepped this for a month. So we spent a month coming up with what it looked like, the strategy to get people in. They did do some ads. They doubled their retainer clients, doubled. The ROI from this has been astronomical. Alex Hormozy is also doing this at the moment with his event. He's got his book launch. This is his whole focus. His whole feed is about this event. He knows the power of getting people along into a Zoom room and getting people on his list. So I'm going to say I would actually love for you all to run an event because I think this is going to stretch a few of you. If it feels really uncomfortable, amazing. The next is authority and case study showcases. So this is really good if you are wanting to, I would say, close people or have something up your sleeve within a launch where you can pull out. It's something where people need to kind of have an understanding of the subject matter that you're teaching. They're aware of the transformation. It's like if we're talking about email marketing, I don't need to talk about why they need email. This is why you need me. When you look at this can be things where it's like your existing case studies, like a white paper report. It can be workshop replays. So in the past, we have taken calls from Give Good Email and sent that to warm and hot segments on my email list. I'm like, hey, I know you love email and I wanted to actually send you this live workshop that we ran in Give Good Email. I contact every single person who has clicked and I pitch to them because I'm like, if you're here, you're watching the workshop, you're clicking, I will sell to you. I have been known to message people and say, I saw you watch the workshop. I really want you in Give Good Email. What's it going to take? I don't care. I'm happy to be told to fuck off or be blocked. Because for me, I'm like, I'm doing that to someone that's been on my list for a year. They've watched the workshop. They're keen. They're obviously keen. Why aren't they buying? I want to know. So this is where I created our GGE white paper report. Some of you would never have seen this. We'll bring this out on launch in email. If you have clicked, this will be sent through to you. And it is a bit more of like a corporatized language. It's got case studies in there. It's got how to implement it. You see this a lot on LinkedIn. I tried to find a better example, but you'll see this where people are like, I followed Frank Body and I put all of their marketing assets in something and let's do a deep dive into their brand. And it is like an email opt-in. So there are lots of examples of this on LinkedIn of like expertise-based or behind the scenes stuff. People need to have an understanding of you though. So don't think, oh, let's talk about this really niche thing and share client case studies if people don't have an understanding of what you're doing first. So if you are in B2B, this can be amazing. This can be like a really good closer. And what I would say is if that is you, start to get case studies because this will be created from case studies. Last one, my favorite, personalized and direct outreach. Who does this? Who goes and just pitches for random shit? Does anyone do that? Does anyone see an opportunity and you're like, it's not even an opportunity. I'm just going to go and create this for myself. These are great for warm, on the fence, past clients. I love to do a voice message. You can just send an email, a reach out. I tried to find quite a few examples here, but the problem is because I do so many voice messages, I obviously can't screenshot that and show you. But I've got 2 examples. So I did a workshop for Sophia Amoruso for business class. People were like, how did you get it? I'm like, with a pretty shitty email. Hey, Sophia, I'd love to present a workshop to your students in business class. I specialize in email marketing and automation, and I teach a damn good workshop that'll fire up your students and maximize the results that they'll get from business class. I have a few ideas on what I could do, and I'm happy to develop something around your email units or what past experts have done. Let me know if there's a process to go through in order to apply, Peter. I got that. She wrote back, well, her community manager wrote back like a couple of hours later. We'd locked that in. Boom. Then there was a local marketing company, and I was doing these like the free events here in the office. And we were talking on LinkedIn, just chatting about random stuff. This person had never met me. They'd just known someone that I'd know. And I just said, hey, I'm not sure where in Melbourne you're based, but I'm hosting an event on email marketing on August 29th, mid-morning in Toorak, but I'm also running the same event online on Wednesday. It's a focus on 2 automations, specifically welcome flows and post-purchase flows. I can send details through on both if you like. Could be good if you want to get a feel for my style. Wink face. Have the best weekend, Peter. This is not amazing, right? These are not, these are like, I'm reading them back now and I'm like, oh my God, that's written terribly. I want to let you in on something. The reason that terrible people are making money and have big profiles is because they're just doing terrible work consistently. And it is, I think, the curse of an expert where we overthink everything and we need it to be perfect. You need to remember, especially if you have a really sexy brand, that your brand is going to work for you. So I know for me, this email is not that amazing, but when they click to my website, oh, she's got heaps of stuff. She's got great testimonials. She's been in this media. So that is also working for me as well. These were, the bottom one is warm, the top one is definitely cold. But this is where if you are running an event, and why I'm like, I would love for you to have an event, is because it gives you something to invite people to and talk about. If you are regularly networking, if you have your business in a co-working space, and if you continually come in front of new people, I would actually recommend having something in your diary every 6 weeks to invite people to. That way, when you meet a lead and you have a conversation, you could be like, oh my gosh, I'm actually running a workshop on the 27th. You should come. It's so good because the thing is, you may feel funny about pitching, even though you know that the services that you sell are going to be fantastic. This is going to make this so simple. What I would love for you to do is when you actually have your workshop, like be bold and go and pitch. Remember that list that we created? Ask yourself how you can get 100 people by going to the people on that list and pitching. We know our goal, we know our offer, and now we know the kind of leads that we are targeting. Knowing the 5 different kinds of lead gen and lead capture, was there one, I would love to know if it was standing out for you, that you are like, yeah, I feel like this is something that would be really advantageous for us to do. So is it an event? Are you going to develop some kind of like little diagnostic tool? Or are you like, no, we've got a really good asset in this course. Let's pull the asset out because we know in January we will do a live event. And right now it's just about building up our email list. So I've got 2 examples for you here. And then I've got you a little task that is going to be your homework for this workshop. Example 1, Robin. Robin's goal is she really needs to reactivate people and close. The scenario is Robin has a large social following of 10,000 plus, a healthy email list of 2,000, and launches a quarterly program. Her content has built trust, but many followers are sitting on the fence. So she's been showing up. Her content is really good. She always gets comments, but for some reason there is a disconnect between people going and purchasing. For strategy, we are going to run a live conversion event, e.g. a workshop, a challenge, a private Q&A, with a theme directly tied to her paid offer. We are going to reverse engineer the sales so every part of the event builds desire for the program. Her goal, 100 signups to the event. That would be the minimum. And this is where if she was a client of mine, I would say, I want you to work proactively. Come up with, our cold leads, our warm, our on the fence, and our past clients. So we've got here with the sales plan, we will sell directly from the event. We'll follow up via email, and we will use proactive outreach to high interest leads. So remember what I said, we pull information out of the emails. So no prices, that's on the sales page. And then she will contact them and she will pitch and she will close. Assets needed. She needs an event theme, strong promise, short sales page, email automation, outreach list. She can get this done in an hour. Like there is no reason for this to take like weeks. You can just absolutely just smack this out. So think about it. You could be like, you know what? I've got time Friday morning. Why not run something? Guess what? People can opt in. They can get the replay. Why not? It's going to give you practice. And would you rather practice with 10 people or would you rather practice with 150? You'd rather practice with 10. So maybe that's a challenge. You're like, I'm going to get something out next Monday. I'm going to get something out by Friday. This is Robin. Or you may be Kim. Kim needs to grow, but she also needs to warm up. So the scenario, Kim has a smaller social audience. She's got less than 1,000 people and a small email list of 200. She sells one-to-one services, but promotes inconsistently. So she'll be on Instagram, she'll do 2 posts in a week, then nothing for 3 weeks. And then she forgets about her audience. Then she's got some stories that come up. Kim needs more awareness, she needs more leads, and she needs to re-engage her network. So we've got a couple of things happening here. The strategy that we are going to use is launch a quick win lead magnet. The cool thing is that way, anytime she shows up, she can also promote this, get people on her list. They can develop some trust. They can have a really good experience. So this could look like a cheat sheet, a mini guide, or a scorecard. She can then invite these leads to an educational webinar. This could be live that she runs quarterly, or it could be something evergreen. So like what we have done with my scorecard, where people do the scorecard, and then off the back of that, they can opt into an evergreen webinar where she will make a soft sell. The goal, I would tell her to get 150 lead magnet signups and let's aim for 50 people for the webinar. This will stretch her. She's going to have to push for this because it's going to make sure that she shows up, and she's probably going to have conversations and work proactively and get outside of her comfort zone. Her sales plan, nurture via email sequences. This is huge for her because when we look at how she's showing up, she is actually going to need the back end and email working for her because she'll probably do this again. So we want to make sure that these leads are nurtured. We will do a very soft sell in the lead magnet delivery, but a bold sell in the webinar. The assets needed. She'll need a lead magnet, email automation, her webinar slides and page, consistent social media, and cross promotion with aligned businesses. So the fact that Kim has one-to-one services, she probably knows people on the periphery that refer to each other. She can say, hey, I'm doing this live event. Can you please send this out? Can you include this in your newsletter? So she's going to have some proactive conversations there. So what one sounds more like you? Are you established? So example 1, are we reactivating and closing, or are we growing and warming up? So take a screenshot of this. This is going to be your track 1. So if you are reactivating and closing, you've been doing this for a while, you have the audience, you know that you've got a good network. You are going to choose the offer that you are focusing on. What are we selling? We want to set our lead and sales goal. How many people do we want to download this thing or come to this thing? How many sales do we want? I will say that this is where people will be like, well, sales conversion is only around 1 to 2%. If you are targeted and if you have the right people that opt in, you will get more. I find that the 1 to 2% maybe initially, but when I was doing network marketing, it was interesting that people would be ready to buy then and there. Some people would buy within a month, and a lot of people would buy within that 6-month period. So it's just about keeping these people engaged and nurtured. So you want to pick your target leads. Are we doing cold? Are we doing warm? Obviously, we're not doing cold with this because you've probably got a lot of warm and on the fence and past clients. We want to pick our event format. Are we running a workshop, a challenge, a Q&A? What are we doing? We want to craft a strong, urgent promise. What are they going to learn? Like this, you are going to get a plan to get 100 leads. Build your lead capture system. So you need a sign-up page, email sequence, and your outreach. That's why I said at the start, come up with that list because you are going to use that later. Then we will run the event, sell hard, and follow up. Your goal, I want you to get 100 leads in a week. I would love for you to close a minimum of 5% within 30 days, meaning you are going to get 5 sales. It does not necessarily need to be 5 of the thing that you set out to sell. Maybe you've got something like a lesser offer. Maybe it's like if we're focusing on Give Good Email and people are like, oh, I'm not there yet. I'm like, you should buy my $35 offer. It's brilliant. I would still class that as a sale. And then your stretch goal is you are going to sell to 10 to 20%. So you are going to walk away with 10 to 20 sales within 30 days. I would love for you all to pick this one. I think that this is going to stretch you. You will find so much out about yourself and it's going to really set future you up. Or track number 2, grow and warm up. You'll choose your offer. You will set your lead and sales goal. You will pick your target leads. Remember, cold, warm, on the fence, past clients. We'll create our quick win lead magnet. So a cheat sheet, mini guide, scorecard. Caveat, this should not take you a month to do. This needs to be done within a 24-hour period. Make it simple. Create your nurture event, webinar challenge, recorded webinar, whatever you want to do. Have that in the future, but just have that in your diary. Okay. So maybe you're like, okay, let me get this lead magnet now. And then I want to run an event in September. So I'm just going to pop that in my diary. So it's in my diary. Build your lead capture system. Again, same thing. Sign up page, email sequence, outreach, promote relentlessly, more than you think. Use your voice. Message people. Get in the DMs. If you're like, I'm promoting, if you take away posting on Instagram, what do you have left? And I want you to do that. Your goal is to get your leads in 2 to 4 weeks. So you are going to get 100 leads by then. You are going to run your nurture event. I've written here within 4 weeks. Let's just say 4 to 6. Even if you have 10 people, that's fine. This does not need to have 100 people that come along, because remember, we've got that lead magnet as well. And I want you to close a minimum of 5% of new leads within 45 days. So this is going to be about you having conversations. It's going to be about you following up and saying, I want to check in. How did you find the event? Is this something that you feel like your business needs at the moment? Always say less in sales and give people a chance to kind of like respond to you. I do this all the time in dating, where if I like a guy and I want him to ask me out, I will say, I think you should ask me out to dinner. And then I shut up, which I know is really hard to believe considering I've been talking for like an hour and 20 minutes straight. Like just really just have fun with this and build failure into it. So before we wrap up, couple little messaging tips. Lead with the benefit, not the format. What are they going to get? What are they going to get out of it? Notice how I wasn't like, come to my 75-minute workshop. Come and have fun. I was like, you'll get 100 leads. You'll get a plan for your 100 leads. Add urgency without pressure. I hate when people are like, this is the only time it's going to run. There's no replay. And then there is always a replay. Add curiosity hooks to get people across the line. Speak directly to the transformation. So what are they going to get out of this? And remember that you need eyeballs, more eyeballs than your desired opt-ins. So if we look at the Google Analytics for this, it's like how many people registered for this event? 62? I could have like 150 page views. Okay. So you always are going to need more eyeballs than you think to opt in, because people will leave you on red. They'll say no. That's just going to happen. This is kind of how this can look. So how you would address this to the different lead types. So our cold leads, warm, on the fence, and past clients. So if it's cold, curiosity and quick win. Your next 100 leads aren't hiding. You just need to know where to look. Spend an hour with me and you'll walk away with a lead plan that you can start in the afternoon. Warm leads. So this is to our followers and our list. You know my stuff, so let's take it deeper. They know me. Okay. So it's like my email list converts at 24%. They're familiar with my brand. That means for every 4 people who join, 1 becomes a customer. If you're like, this sounds familiar, yes, because it's on the sales page. And you can see here how warm and on the fence, it's pretty much the same. This is what this event is for. If you are here, you are either a warm lead or you are on the fence about working with me. I do have past clients. Now, I sent them the same sales page, but I was like, hey, let's do it again, but this time with more people watching. It's like, you love my shit. If you're free next Tuesday, come, I've got an event. That's how I'll speak to clients. I don't need to prove myself because they have already had a good experience. So I will use like a more personal tone of voice. This is where use chat, use Claude, like play around with messaging and just be like, how would I phrase this to people that were new to me? How would I phrase this for people that are past clients? And then one more little tip, segmentation hacks. It can be helpful to have segmentation, so to ask people some qualifying questions when they opt in, even if it's simple as what is your website, what is your Instagram, that actually helps you proactively sell. This is why when we look at like traditional business with business development, they don't just get your phone number or your email, they'll ask you questions. What's your role? What is the size of your organization? How long have you been running? What goals are you after? Because they know the more information they have, the easier it is to sell. So this is where you can ask 1 to 2 filtering questions on your opt-in, or you can have like a little radio button. Are you e-commerce or are you service-based? Are you a startup or are you scaling? If they click a link in an email and they don't buy, you can have rules set up so they get an email that follows them up 2 hours, just checking in. Hey, I noticed that you clicked this. Do you actually have some questions? I've got some time available this afternoon for a chat. That's all automated. Have your calendar link, set that up, forget about it. And you also can do 2 things where it's like you actually give people 2 links, one for learning and one for buying. And it kind of is going to give you an idea of where people are at in their purchase journey. They still may need some more information before they are ready to purchase. We have covered a lot today, but this is going to be probably, I think, out of all the workshops that we've run, the most beneficial, because this is now actually getting you on the ground, creating something in action. And I've actually given you some KPIs of what I want you to go and do. This is going to stretch you and it is going to be fun. So you have your plan to grow, warm up, and convert, but the plan actually only works if you are running it, okay? So if you are needing help, we can continue to work together further, and I've got 2 recommendations. I do have my entrepreneurial and business mentorship, which is called Business Bang. We do 2 things in here. We develop the entrepreneur. So when I'm like, go and have a conversation, if you're like, I feel a doubt coming up, it's like, cool, let's focus on that. Let's get you making a decision, having self-leadership, having self-trust. And then we also look at the core of your business. So if you're like, I want to make $1 million in a year, we can develop a plan for that to happen. There are 30 entrepreneurs that I work with. When we're full, you'll go on a wait list. You do get 2 one-to-ones with me as well. So although it is a group program, small group, beautiful community, there are one-to-one elements. This is going to be really helpful if you are like, okay, I feel that I need your brain on my business. Like, I have loved this, but I actually want your genius working with me. This is fantastic for that. I will say though, I will push you, and you think you have high standards, we will raise them and I will hold you to that. So it is not easy work, but it is exceptionally rewarding. You'll notice as well that I also spoke a lot in here about email. Because if we're thinking about leads, we will be getting people onto our email list. So I do have my program, Give Good Email. It's self-study, an amazing community. We have a monthly call and a Facebook group. It is the best program to exist on email marketing in the world. GGE is worth every penny. We've had people make $1 million from this. It will overhaul your business because it is a business first program. So we don't look at fucking newsletters and what you're writing. We look at your business first. And then we use email infrastructure to make that happen. We could have done this as actually a full day workshop. Most important thing that you do is you create that list and you fill those columns with the leads, that you think about lead captures that are reverse engineered to sell the thing that you want to sell. And remembering that with that, you need clarity. If we don't have clarity, it is really hard for us to kind of get in front of the right people and then sell. And then the last thing is, don't be afraid to use your voice and to work proactively. It can be really easy to be like, I'm just going to put a post up on LinkedIn, or I'm going to put this up on Instagram. Okay, cool, we're done. Oh, no one wants to work with me. I've been doing this for a long time. I wish that I could put stuff up and that people, my whole audience would just opt in. People forget, they get busy, they scroll past stuff. They're like, oh, I'm not really sure about this. I'll come back to it. So if you can use your voice and you can go and get the opportunities that you want, it will benefit your business so well, because let me tell you, no one does this. No one follows up. So I believe in you all that you can make this happen. And if you wanted to get these leads by Friday, oh my gosh, you could go and do that. So if you want a challenge, go get them by Friday. But thank you so much for coming along to this workshop. If you are here live, love you. If you've been to all of them, thank you so much. If you are listening to the replay, please let me know if you have any questions. And that goes for all of you as well. And I will talk to you later. Have the best day, hotties. Go have a sexy little coffee, have some water, get out in the sunshine, shake your tits, and have the day that you deserve.